So it all started really being the vice chair of Health and Human Services and getting to know DHS because that's under my purview. And then doing ride-alongs with them and then seeing what they're doing for our foster families in the state. And then I got to meet people from Wildlife Department and I said, why can't we put the two of them together and figure out a way that for some of these foster kids, and especially with COVID now, so many families are looking for activities to do. And so I just got with them and said, is there any way we can collaborate about doing something? And what was amazing, both agencies were on board from the first minute and said, yes, we're willing to do it. And so that's how it really got started. It just was part of being the Health and Human Services and working closely with DHS.
So how did you go about doing this?
So what we did was we did an initial meeting and we met over at the Wildlife Department, and we had DHS there and myself and the Wildlife Department. And we came up with this idea of maybe the easiest thing to get started was fishing. And where could we do it? How many kids could we get involved, and who was going to pay for it? Because that was one thing that I did not want. I didn't want taxpayers to have to pay for this. So one of the things we did was said, I will find community partners if you guys are willing to work. And they were all in. And so I called Oklahoma City FOP and I called Oklahoma City Firefighters 157th and said, hey, I have this program going on that I would like you guys to sponsor. And immediately they said, we're willing. And so they bought 30 fishing poles, and police and fire bought all the food, the poles, and then the Wildlife Department's foundation bought all the tackle and the gear. And we did that instead of giving a donation to the Wildlife Department, they purchased everything. This way the kids could take it home. If they would have gave the donation directly to Wildlife, then it would have became state property.
And because it's through the foundation, they can
Yes.
use those resources
Yes.
in a way.
Yep.
How did the kids react?
It was incredible. And so it was in my district, and so I'm very familiar with South Lakes Park. We went out there and we did an initial run through, myself, DHS, and Wildlife Department, and they did a quick clinic on the patio in the back of the building, and then I was able to watch. I sat on the wall. There's a brick wall out there, and I was able to just sit on the wall. And they had all these kids and these families, and the fire and police and the Wildlife Department all helping these kids fish. And the smiles on their faces, and not just the kids. What was incredible, there was even the foster parents themselves. One family was having such a good time. The mom had caught her first fish and was jumping up and down and laughing and high-fiving her kids. It was an incredible, incredible experience.
So what happens now?
So Director Brown, he would really like for this to continue. Director Strong, J.D. Strong, he wants this to continue. So we are looking for a partner, another legislator. I'm hoping it's going to be a senator. I have reached out to somebody from Perry, Oklahoma, and to see if he is willing to do the next one, and trying to find some community partners and get it going.
So eventually you'd like to see this spread out across the state.
We have 77 counties, and there are foster children in 77 counties. And so we're starting out with fishing. Director Strong has got some ideas of maybe doing some other things, maybe during non-fishing months, but I don't want to share that yet because it takes a while, and this took some planning. It did take a couple of months to plan and get it all worked out because there was so many moving pieces, and we have families involved. And so we had to be very, very cautious about where we were going to do it, their safety, their privacy, and making sure that we could do it in a way that would be fun.
But for a foster child who often, I mean, they're maybe ripped from their home, obviously circumstances that they're totally innocents, but they don't have a lot when they arrive at a foster home, and a lot that they can call their own. And so that's also an important part of this.
Yeah, and so foster kids are already starting out at a disadvantage than many of our families. And some of the families that have taken in foster children, they're so special because some of them don't have a lot of means either, but they have a love in their heart for children. And so some of these kids, and I recently got an email that somebody saw this on the news, and this man says that he has adopted 3 kids out of the state of Oklahoma that were foster children, and they came to him with nothing but a plastic bag. That's what their belongings were in. So yes, I think it's so important that we just reach out, and especially that we recognize these families for doing it, because we need more of them. And the more foster families we have, the more chance these kids have at a better future.